Welcome to Sex Ed with DB. I'm your host, DB. Let's get into it. Here are my top 3 favorite things I love about Uberlube. Number 1, Uberlube makes sex feel a lot more pleasurable. It's as simple yet as powerful as that. Number 2, Uberlube is recommended by leading doctors, and its body-friendly ingredient list is widely used by people with sensitivities to lubricants. And number 3, Uberlube will not stain clothing or bedding. Any spills can be easily cleaned with detergent and water. Get your bottle of Uberlube now with code SEXEDWITHDB for 15% off at uberlube.com. We talk a lot about sex ed, but when we're shopping for products to support our sexual wellness, exploration, and expression, we head to the experts at Lion's Den. For 50 plus years, Lion's Den has been a leader in adult products. Whether you want to explore a new kink or add a little romance to your evening, Lion's Den has something for all. Each location is brightly lit and staffed with the very best experts in pleasure, passion, and romance, so you can feel comfortable and confident in your purchases. Lion's Den is offering our listeners 15% off your purchase in-store and online using code SEXEDWITHDB at lionsden.com. What if I told you that I did a masturbation experiment with the magic wand and the results were incredible? Don't believe me? Let me share a few things with the class. When using the magic wand every day, I experienced less stress, anxiety, and physical tension. I reported more frequent positive moods when using the magic wand every day, including higher levels of confidence. My level of horniness increased over time when using the magic wand every day. Want to see how else the magic wand impacted me positively? Go to sexedwithdb.com/magicwandexperiment to learn more. So, you're ready to experiment with anal play, but you're not sure where to start. If I were you, I'd start with Education and Products by a company founded by a doctor who's an expert on anal sex. I'm talking about Future Method. Future Method develops science-backed products and doctor-led education to maximize pleasure, eliminate injury, and empower the way people choose to play in the bedroom. They even have a blog that puts education at the forefront, on topics both popular and taboo. Use code SEXEDWITHDB for 15% off at futuremethod.com. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Today's episode is a little different from the rest because, as you hear throughout the episode, I am kind of commanding you as my amazing listener to donate because this episode is all about supporting an independent abortion clinic in Orlando, Florida. And specifically, I chat with an abortion clinic escort who is a volunteer for the organization SWAN, also in Florida, who works with this clinic, and they are absolutely incredible. If you do not follow them already on TikTok or Instagram, check them out at Swan of Central FLA. They make these incredibly funny and witty and hilarious videos, basically just shitting on anti-abortion protesters, and I absolutely love them. Winnie also is so poised and so fantastic and really explains what's going on the ground in Florida when it comes to the abortion landscape. So I'm going to shout out their website to donate right now in case you want to pause and just trust that you should be donating. It's givebutter.com/saveowc. That's givebutter, butter.com/saveowc. And within just a couple of weeks, they have raised over $150,000. They're almost 80% of the way to their $193,000 goal. So if you give $5, $10, $20, if you match my $100 donation and send me a screenshot at sexedwithdb@gmail.com, I will shout you out on a future episode of the podcast or on Instagram. Haven't decided yet, but somewhere. And yeah, here I am with the amazing Winnie. Hello, Winnie. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
So far, so good. How are you?
I'm great. We're finally doing an abortion clinic escort episode, which we've been wanting to do for a long while. It felt like kismet that I saw SWAN's TikToks on our For You page, and we're going to get into that later because you all are very popular. I'm not the only one who gets your TikToks on their For You page, but I've been laughing and in awe of what you all have been doing for many, many months now. So I'm super, super stoked to have you on the show and talk more about your work. So thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, and thank you for like inflating our head a little bit about the TikTok.
It's not even, it's not no fakeness with that. It's all truth. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about your work as an abortion clinic escort?
Yeah. So I am, my name is Winnie, and I am an escort, and I have been for a little bit over a year at the only independent abortion clinic here in Orlando, Florida. And mainly our work is to walk patients to and from the inside of abortion clinics and then back to their vehicle. But we've kind of taken a little bit different of a strategy. I think a lot of people, when they think of abortion clinic escorts, they think of Planned Parenthood and how you're not allowed to engage, and you just kind of hold your umbrella and you take patients and you hang your head. But I think that our take on it has been a little bit different. We've kind of thrown respectability politics out the door. And if you're there to make people uncomfortable, we're there to make you uncomfortable. And so we've been, lucky enough to have a lot of escorts on the ground. And so we can have patient-forward escorts that work with the patients and provide snacks and drinks and getting them to and from their vehicles. And then we have escorts that film and kind of platform these anti-abortion protesters that are in their community, and it's been a unique ride.
I'll say, I mean, just even watching it, I think I won't spoil it for you, listener. What's actually your TikTok handle? We can just say that right off the bat so people can like pause this episode and go watch a few.
Yeah, so the main TikTok is SWAN of Central FLA, and then our backup TikTok, which still has over 100,000 followers, it's doing pretty good for a backup.
Sure is
SWAN of Orlando.
Yeah. So okay. So go pause this episode and watch 2 of those because these are such funny videos. And of course, right? Like, and you're in these comments, right? Like some people are kind of like, why are you talking to these antis? Why are you like entertaining them? And you all just like, clap back and you're kind of like, well, if they're going to kind of like fuck with people, then we're going to fuck with them back. And we're going to do TikTok dances and be like really, really obnoxious because they're doing the same thing and they're harassing people. And they're, I think like there's this one woman, Beth, I'm sure she's very famous and people talk about her all the time. She's a very gauntly white blonde woman who is essentially all over your page because, she's a Christian woman. She's an anti-abortion person who consistently is harassing people. And I think like the way in which you engage her and other people is so fucking funny to me. And you're just so in their face. You're like, being like real, just there's no chance that these people have. Like, you're just not giving it to them and like flashing kind of like LGBTQ flags in their face, like making fun of them. It's very much like the Drew Afualo kind of like response, I feel, where she just doesn't take anybody's shit, right? And like, I mean, since we're already talking about it, like, let's talk about your social media. You, again, on the main page, you didn't even say this, you have over 360,000 followers on your main account.
Yeah.
And you have, that's wild. That's like an insane, that's just a wild amount, right? And then you have over 100,000 followers on your backup account. Okay, like how did you go viral? Like, how's this been your process for a long time? And like, how have you been using social media as a tool to get your voices heard?
So, our group really formed like last June, and we didn't really get on
1 year ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we didn't even really get on social media until September, as far as like an official group social media. And our goal was to hit 1,000 followers so we could go live, so we could have like engagement with other clinic escorts and kind of be in that sphere of like gaining live content and stuff so people could feel like they're at the clinic with us. Because I think that a large part of what we do and our success is the fact that people wish that they could say these things to these anti-abortion protesters, and they wish that they could do this, and they see people kind of finding a sort of like confidence, and we're kind of bold about it. And I just don't think that right now is a good time to be quiet. I think that the time for being, polite is kind of over, and people have really resonated with that messaging, and it just kind of took off. And I think the first video that we ever did that like hit 1 million was one where one of the anti-abortion advocates was screaming, "Why didn't your mom and dad kill you?" And one of our SWAN said, "I wish that they did, ma'am." And that hit that hit millions pretty quickly. And just kind of that I guess authenticity, like it just looks like regular kind of scrappy people doing this, and I think it kind of emboldened people and made them feel like they could do it.
Totally. Yeah, and just like, you like the "I got one margarita, I'ma open my legs," like that song of just like doing that like in a line like around these anti-abortion protesters. Like that shit is so funny, and like and I think you're exactly right. I think you hit the nail on the head, which is people wish they could be there with you, and that's so evident with how much money that you have raised in this short amount of time. Let's talk about let's talk about the campaign for a second, because that's really why I wanted you here, was to really talk through, and if you're listening to this, listener, and you have an extra $5 that you were going to spend on something silly or something that you wanted, consider donating, because I donated $100 the other day because I think this work is so important, and who's going to give if not people who really care about sex ed and who really care about abortion rights and advocacy. And so, that's my premise to you, listener, is like, I have an expectation that you're going to donate today. This is like tough love. Like if you have $5 or more, donate it. And so that's my spiel. But I want to hear, Winnie, a little bit about kind of like the current climate for abortion rights in Florida specifically. Like what is the current campaign you're working on, and where can people help and donate?
Sure. So let's start with the current climate, just so we can kind of frame kind of what's going on. So currently, Florida is considered a safe haven state, meaning that we are kind of the abortion access for our state and the surrounding states. Georgia has a 6-week ban. Alabama is a total ban. Tennessee is a total ban. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, all across is a total ban. We see states from all over the place. Orlando is a pretty easy and cheaper airport to fly into, and our clinic offers next day abortion services. So you could get a flight like Friday night and see a doctor Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. And so that's absolutely it's very necessary. And with that in mind, it's important to keep clinics like ours open. And our state has unjustly fined our clinic $193,000. It was a very unclear thing. If I could talk a little bit about kind of what happened and what those fines are. So back in 2015, the 24-hour law went into effect, and it was passed, but it was immediately halted, and it'd been kind of hung up in courts for a long time. And then about a year or two ago, it in the middle of the night got unhalted, and there wasn't a big news announcement. There wasn't a lot of information about it, and our clinic didn't know, and they continued to do abortions same day, meaning the 24-hour law is you have to have a consultation, and then 24 hours later meet with a doctor for your actual procedure. It's right-wing nonsense to ensure that, one, it's more expensive to travel, and two, they frame it as like time to think about it and time to really go over your options. Mm-hmm. But really, it's to make it more inaccessible. You have to have more days off of work. It makes it harder to travel. More hotel stays. Yes, so for 12 days, our clinic performed 193 abortions, and the maximum fine per infraction, I guess, is $1,000. And the judge said that, our clinic had credible evidence saying that they didn't know. And they suggested that we are fined $350 per abortion. And they said, nope, we're not going to listen to the judge. We are going to do the maximum fine, and we are going to bankrupt this clinic. And that's exactly what they're doing. And so our clinic now is faced with the absolute maximum possibility to be faced with for this. And we had never raised more money than like $1,000 at a time. We are sponsored by a nonprofit, but we're just kind of a scrappy group, and we're only focused on one clinic.
I need you to pause. You've never raised more than $1,000 at a time, and you've already raised, what's the number at right now?
Like 150,000 or 153.
Oh my God. Does that feel like the best thing ever or what?
This sounds so weird, and you're not going to believe me. But I think that, when we were emailing each other, we were talking a little bit about revolutionary optimism, and I think it'll be a good point to kind of jump into that in a second. But we had never raised more than 1,000 in like a single time period. And, we had just, been paying for people's abortions here and there. If a patient comes out and they said that they can't afford it, then we would just go live, raise a little bit of cash, and then pay for it. No big deal, whatever. And we were some of my comrades in our organizing team, we were talking about this fine, and we were like, we have to raise this money. And there was a few people that were like, I don't know if we can. But most of us just kind of felt in our gut that I think we can do this. We're only focused in one clinic, and we've never raised this amount before. But we feel like people are kind of really dedicated because they feel like they're part of this too. And that's one thing that we've been we're kind of adamant about that. That like we're all in this struggle together. It's not just this clinic in Orlando. It's no more closed clinics, and we're all kind of in this together. And we were hoping that would resonate with people, and it really did. And the first day we raised like $29,000. Wow. And I had a House representative like call me on my personal phone number, and it was just so strange. And then, like, I don't know if you know who, like, Jessica Valenti is, yes. But she's an author. Yeah. So, like, she wrote about our clinic, and then we were like, hey, that's actually our clinic. And then she wrote about us in her newsletter and stuff, and she wrote about us on Twitter. And I think after Jessica Valenti wrote about us on Twitter, it just blew up. And I was like, oh my gosh. But that was so exciting. It was like a whirlwind.
Ever since getting engaged to my wonderful fiance, I've been thinking about ways to keep things fun and novel between us. But I, of course, want it to feel organic. I want to be able to feel sexy and comfortable in my body while trying something new. Thanks to Lion's Den, a new adventure I've been exploring is the world of lingerie. I never really was a big lingerie girl myself, but once I started trying on lingerie that accentuated my curves, felt super soft to the touch, and made me look in the mirror and felt wildly confident in my skin, that changed pretty quickly. Plus, when I searched for what I might like on Lion's Den's website, I saw models that actually looked like me. They were curvy and thick and voluptuous, and it made all the difference to see models that have my body type. Want to join me in my new lingerie chapter? Right now, you can use code SEXED with DB for 15% off your purchase in-store and online at lionsden.com. Follow them on social media at lionsdenadult on IG and TikTok for exclusive offers, deals, and giveaways. Flicking the bean, wanking, self-loving, jilling off, ménage à moi. All of these are different and very creative ways to say masturbation. For 21 days, I conducted a masturbation experiment with one of my favorite vibes ever, the magic wand. In a nutshell, I wanted to answer one question. What is the impact of daily magic wand use on my health and wellness, as well as my sexual experience when compared to regular sexual activity and no sexual activity. The results surprised me more than I thought they would. Want to see the hypotheses and the results for yourself? Go to sexedwithdb.com/magicwandexperiment to learn more. Let's talk about a lube I absolutely love, Uberlube. Uberlube makes sex better for everyone by reducing friction and increasing pleasure. Whether you're using it for solo sex, sex with a partner, or both, Uberlube has a long-lasting performance that lets skin feel skin. It has simple, body, and condom-friendly ingredients, is scent and color-free, dissipates when no longer needed so there's no sticky residue, and is recommended by leading doctors. Use code SEXEDWITHDB for 15% off at Uberlube.com. What do you know about pegging? If you've seen that one incredible Broad City episode like the rest of us, you probably know that pegging involves a woman, trans man, or non-binary individual without a penis wearing a strap-on dildo and penetrating their partner who has a penis. But did you know that there are actual benefits of pegging for straight couples? I'll share a few with you from an anal surgeon and booty expert at Future Method. Number 1, reaching the full potential of one's orgasms. Prostate orgasms are powerful and can often be felt throughout the body. Number 2, becoming closer with your partner and adding new dimensions to your relationships. And number 3, learning to be submissive or dominating in a new position can be quite difficult to achieve, but when you can master these sensations, it opens the door to new relationship dynamics. Go to futuremethod.com to check out the expert-written guide on pegging, and don't forget to use code SEXEDWITHDB for 15% off at checkout for amazing butt and gut goodies. Wow, that is so impressive. I mean, I think you all are very talented at what you do, right? Like at the end of the day, you are not only helping people, but you are making like comedy out of it in this like hard thing that a lot of people are dealing with. And it feels very easy, at least in my position, to feel very sad and downtrodden about the bullshit that right-wing Republicans are spewing constantly through our laws, through news, through just hateful rhetoric. And you all are really flipping it on its head. I mean, I think like this whole thing is such proof that people do care about abortion. They do care about people's rights. They do care about bodily autonomy, and they will put their money where their mouths are. I think like that's a really, really big thing.
Yeah, a lot of people give a shit, and that matters so much. And just like talking about the people that give a shit, and you said, oh, if you have $5, like when you hear a big number like $193,000, you think your $5 doesn't get very far. But this is like a working class movement. Like we have a lot of donations, like over 4,000 people have donated to this.
Wow.
And I think the average donation is less than $40. This is just a bunch of little people together. And I wanted to hit again, you had mentioned like, everyone is kind of sad about abortion. Either that or they were sad a year ago and they're just kind of tired of being sad. So it kind of numbs out. But I think that we've taken a lot of like pointers from like revolutionary movements, and we don't want to be sad about our losses. I mean, of course, we can't help but to mourn over the loss of our rights, but we have to have this optimism that we are going to make change. Like we have to continuously set goals and continuously work to meet these goals. And that's this optimism and this energy, I think, is really what's setting aside like the SWAN account from like maybe some other different things in abortion, because everyone is tired of being sad. And
Right.
and we're not going to be sad. Yes, we're right now, Florida has a 6-week ban hanging over our heads. We could realistically lose abortion access in the next like 2 months. But we're going to win this clinic. and after we win this clinic, we're going to focus on the ballot initiative, and we're going to work to win that too. And we can't stop and be sad for a second. We have to keep going.
Yes, and keep laughing and keep laughing at these ding-dong, like right-wing Christians who are just spouting absolute religious bullshit and nonsense. And you do it in such a great way. And I love, like, you all, like, come up on TikTok knows that I'll watch the whole thing and they know that I'll like it. So I feel like every other video is a SWAN video. And I think they're so funny and they're so smart. And it makes sense to me that you're very close to hitting your goal. But of course, but for folks listening who do want to donate, let's shout out, some important things that they can do. And people have social media profiles, right? So like maybe in addition to donating, like you send this episode to 2 of your friends and say, hey, I heard this amazing Sex Ed with DB episode with an abortion clinic escort from SWAN supporting the Center of Orlando for Women. And that's your way of contributing. Like that's a really good way of contributing. So Winnie, why don't you go ahead and share with people where they can learn more, where they can donate, what they can share?
Yeah. So if you're not good at typing in links, then you can just go to our Instagram or our TikTok. We have a link tree in both. And our Instagram is SWAN of Central FLA, and our TikTok is the exact same thing. But if you are good at taking down links, it's a really simple one. It is givebutter.com/save OWC.
Amazing. And I guess like if you could leave folks with something about this work and about what it's like to either, like be an abortion clinic escort and work with these folks or kind of on a daily basis interact with these anti-abortion protesters, what's something that you would say to them?
Okay, I have a couple of tips, I guess. One is that anyone can do it. It is a little bit of a learning curve, and you have to build this confidence. You see people kind of going back and forth with these antis, and it feels like unrealistic. Like I could never do that, or they're so intimidating. Same, same, and same for all of us. But it's a learning curve, but you can do it and focus, on our clinic and look at our clinic and our wins and see if there's an independent clinic in your community that needs help. Even if you're in a banned state, a lot of your independent clinics have expanded their services and are just, holding out hope that one day they can resume services, see if they need any assistance. But also, as far as like a good tip for being an escort, effective engagement. If you go and you scream and you start a screaming match for patients, it looks like everyone's screaming and everyone's yelling and it's scary. Effective engagement. It doesn't always have to be an abortion debate. Actually, sometimes it's better if it isn't. If you can find a topic that they'll run with and you can get them hooked onto talking to you, you're way more effective than any screaming match.
That is a good tip. Yeah, some of the videos that I've seen, oh my God, I saw this hilarious one today where like Beth, the gaunt woman, don't forget listener, who is there all the time, I presume, she brought a friend and the friend was kind of like popping off about something. And whoever was doing the video was like, Beth, is that your girl? Like, did you bring her?
Me.
That was you. So yeah, you were like, is that your friend? Is that your girl? And she's like, yeah, she's not prepared for this. Like, it's straight up like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. Like, I feel like this is, oh my God, they have so much fodder. I feel
they're
like
truly,
God.
They don't expect this type of engagement. And I'm not saying we're the only clinic that does it. If I can really shout out, South Carolina just lost a majority of their abortion rights, and we're really good comrades with the clinic escorts, the upstate clinic defenders, and they have similar engagement tactics. And these anti-abortion protesters are not prepared for clinics like these. They can't handle it. And they're used to Planned Parenthoods. And when they get here, I think, I don't know if you watch all of the Beth videos, there's one that I really love where I'm filming and another clinic escort is kind of sitting in the foreground and singing, and Beth is like praying or something, and she's like, I leave this place emotionally exhausted. And I'm like, good, get out.
Yeah, like, Beth, please leave. Like, let these people do what they want to do. Yeah, I will continue to support you. I'm so excited and happy that you were on the podcast. Folks, remember to check out SWAN. If you go to SWAN of Central FLA on Instagram and TikTok, you will find those donation links. And again, I am expecting that you will donate. Okay. This is not, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everyone has a spare dollar that they can share, 5, 10. Match me $100 and send me a screenshot at sexedwithdb@gmail.com and I will shout you out in a future episode. So thank you so much.
And if you have 193,000 laying around,
please just go ahead and write that check for 193K. That would be perfect. Winnie, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm so excited to continue to support your cause.
I really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Our creator, host, and executive producer is me, Danielle Bezalel. Our producer and communications lead is Catherine Cohen. Our associate producer and communications coordinator is Sadie Luigi. Our marketing coordinator is Kate Fiala. Our music theme is by Hook Sounds. Thanks so much to our featured guests, partners, and listeners. Want to partner with us? Email us at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. For more sex ed content, follow us on Instagram at sexedwithdbpodcast and on TikTok at sexedwithdb. For exclusive content and to submit an anonymous sex ed question, check out my new podcast on Fridays, Curious Sex Ed, hosted with Mariah Caudillo of Sex Ed Files. Go to buymeacoffee.com/curioussexed to learn more. See you next time.